It's not always easy to find out about musical instrument makers, as often the only thing we have as a record is the surviving instrument itself. Usually, it's only the names of the heads of firms that appear on instruments, and they are usually men. This means we have to use other ways of finding out about women who worked in instrument-making firms. In the past, it was most common for women who were related to male instrument makers to share the work of their husbands or fathers. One of the most important harpsichord makers in London from the 1720s to the 1770s was Burkat Shudy. His daughter Barbara married the Scotsman John Broadwood, who worked for her father and later became head of the company. Some of Barbara's notebooks have survived and show that she contributed to the family business by managing the home where apprentices and workers would have lived. She bought provisions and household necessities, such as tea, coal, milk and spices, and paid her servant, Jane Kennedy, £1.12 per quarter, as well as tradespeople such as the butcher, brewer and washerwoman. Barbara also helped on the business side of the accounts, as she kept a record of payments to workmen, and noted instrument sales and appointments for services such as tuning or hiring instruments. Another harpsichord and piano maker's daughter was Josephine Kirkman, who spent time demonstrating instruments to customers. The music teacher, singer and organist Richard Stevens recorded in his diary for 1825 hearing Miss Kirkman play the piano on 4 occasions. He noted how good she was. Miss Kirkman played an overture of Beethoven and 2 overtures of Weber, Freischütz one of them. The poor girl must have fagged hard to play these adapted overtures so well. Stevens visited again in 1827 when Josephine played to him for an hour. Stevens was a contact worth having, because he taught the daughters of many upper-class families, each of whom would need a piano on which to practice. His diaries show that he often bought instruments for, or on behalf of, his friends, so would have helped the Kirkman business to make money. These 2 examples show women involved in the operational and marketing sides of the business, but there were others who worked on the making side. Catherine and Anne Gedney worked with their flute maker father, Caleb, and carried on the family business after he died in 1769. Caleb Gedney set himself up in 1754 when he took over the business of his master, Thomas Stainsby. In an advert that the sisters placed in the Gazetteer and New Daily Advertiser, one of the newspapers of the day, it's revealed that they still had to have a male guardian, Mr. Miller, oversee their work, even though they had been brought up in the business and had worked on flutes during their father's lifetime. Sons and other boys were able to do formal apprenticeships to learn a trade, but such opportunities were less possible for girls unless it was in a female trade, such as textiles. So it is important to note from the Gedney example that daughters were trained by their fathers. In more modern times, an American acoustics expert, Maylie Hutchins, invented a family of instruments that have the same tone quality, from very high-sounding treble violins down to very low contrabass violins. Unlike the violin, viola, cello and double bass, each of which has a slightly different voice. Carole is an example of an instrument maker who was also a scientist and inventor. We have a complete set of 8 in the collection, made in the 1960s and 70s. These examples show that women have contributed to musical instrument making in a range of different ways, but a lot of research is often needed to find out about them.